Ladies and gentlemen, this is from the University of Wyoming. Fantastic school, fantastic university. Wyoming Republican primary candidate Harriet Hageman is leading incumbent Liz Cheney by nearly 30 points in the primary contest for Wyoming's lone seat in the U.S. House of Representatives, according to a new poll by the University of Wyoming's Wyoming Survey and Analysis Center. Now, 30 points. The primary, the eventual, or the imminent catastrophic loss for Cheney is on the 16th. So that's just 2 days from now, Tuesday. And I'm going to give you my analysis on that. Hit subscribe to this channel. We are moving, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing very well because of you. And we're almost at 200,000 subscribers. We'll get there in a couple of days, most likely, especially when Tuesday rolls around. That's going to be a huge, huge day. I will have a live stream, a special live stream on Tuesday. I haven't had a live stream in a while because the channel is just moving, and I don't want to mess things up. But the live stream we will have to celebrate Harriet Hageman defeating Liz Cheney, whose father is Darth Vader. Dick Cheney, one of the most villainous, deceitful politicians in U.S. history, who got us into, along with Donald Rumsfeld, and Bush, one of the longest, most devastating counterinsurgency conflicts in the history of this country, in the history of the world. And we learned lessons from Vietnam. That generation, we learned a lesson. We learned military and other lessons from the Vietnam War that Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld completely ignored, sending Americans off to fight the same type of counterinsurgency battles where you don't know who your enemy is and where there's no definition of victory or success. And this is the world that Liz Cheney wants. A world where Americans are sent off to topple regimes, to intervene at a moment's notice, as long as our wonderful intel community. Hi, John Brennan. Hi, Clapper, just working on my car. It's a community. It's a wonderful community. No, it's not. The intel is derived after a foreign policy is decided upon by an administration. That's almost always what happens. Every once in a while, you'll get intel that's accurate. But from WMD to now with Trump and boxes of classified data from Mar-a-Lago, it's usually a reason for the current administration to engage in a course of action that is almost always going to be a complete and catastrophic and utter failure. So the Bay of Pigs with Kennedy, and then the Gulf of Tonkin with LBJ, and then you have the intel agencies didn't even predict the fall of the Berlin Wall, but then you had Tehran with hostages in 1979, and the intel agencies didn't predict that, the fall of that country. They don't predict anything. And then they say, well, you have to revere anyway, it's Liz Cheney that reveres these people. And it is Trump that pushes back and says, wait a second, what's going on here? We need an intel apparatus. We don't need one that sides with Democrats against Trump. Hit subscribe, by the way, to this channel. Become a member. We have more members now on this channel. Become a member of this channel, ladies and gentlemen. It's awesome. A lot of perks, and you'll love it. To my Patreons, thank you. To my new Patreons, I cannot thank you enough. You want to become a Patreon and support my work long term, that is below in the pinned comment and description. To read my writing in The Hill, the Huffington Post, Salon, the Jerusalem Post, the Federalist, other publications, go to hagoodman.com. And ladies and gentlemen, like I said, subscribe to this channel and also subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. But ladies and gentlemen, and I'm working yet again on a new third channel. I don't know if the nuclear confrontation channel is going to work, although uh, they're accusing Trump of the most absurd things. These are letters with Kim Jong Un. These are letters for his library. Oh my God! Oh my God! Um, he's the Orange Al Capone. Oh my God! But anyway, why do why do you want to go back to a Republican Party where Paul Ryan is lifting 20-pound weights, and that is seen as, oh wow, that's fantastic. And by the way, media the current media, the current state of affairs in journalism, and even in late night with Jimmy Kimmel or Stephen Colbert or Saturday Night Live, let's say Mitt Romney purged the Republican Party of a more populist movement that Trump has now completely transformed the GOP into. Let's say you'll have a good Republican, like the Lincoln Cheney people who are against marriage equality and who want every single military endeavor to take place, counterinsurgency conflicts, wars, and all of these things that old Republicans and Democrats really love. And who won't, the traditional Republican who will talk tough about the border but do nothing about it. The traditional Republican who cares about workers but really actually won't go to bat. And Trump had hundreds of thousands of new manufacturing jobs. Anyone who says Trump abandoned the working class knows nothing about economics or his record. We had the highest ever household median income in America in 2019, the highest ever. And we had the lowest ever poverty on record. So that was under Trump. His policies worked in terms of the economy, and he negotiated the Doha Agreement to get Americans out of what Liz Cheney's father got us into. And Biden completely botched that because he didn't want to get Americans out. He wanted Americans would be staying there forever, forever. If Clinton had defeated Trump in 2016, and I said she would lose to Trump. Okay, it's not difficult when people say when there's Democrats. I've heard the most absurd things, like the most immoral type of, well, climate change affects everybody, but you signed up to go to war, so so that's why I'm voting Democrat. It's like, what? How can you with climate change is an important issue? How do you know any of your policies in the United States of America will protect the entire planet when the entire planet does not go along with whatever it is that Democrats pass through? The Inflation Reduction Act will increase inflation. You don't pump money at inflation unless you can ensure economic growth. So unless there's economic growth involved, so you can make a case for tax cuts. But if you're not growing the economy, and this doesn't grow the economy, and if you just want to protect the planet, you don't know. There's no way to categorically say that your money to protect the planet is actually doing its job. So what they did, you have Biden flooding the country full of strategic petroleum reserves because his initial climate change policies were colossal failures, and he was sued by oil and gas associations. And then inflation went up because oil went too high up. But then oil is down in part because of strategic petroleum reserves. So anyway, you can't keep that up. So oil is going to go way back up. And then you still have layoffs. Layoffs are on the horizon, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen. To even my worst enemies, don't lose sight of the fact that, God forbid, layoffs are on the horizon. I don't want even Democrats to lose their job or whatever. But, I mean, if the reverse were true, you voted for Trump and now there's a recession. I mean, Liz Cheney is voting for, or is going after Trump, but there's a recession now. And Liz Cheney and Kinzinger said nothing about $1 to $2 billion in property damage. I mean, up until November, media, the left, Democrats have gotten away with pretty much anything. That's going to change. That is going to change politically once Trump Republicans take over the House and Senate. And I agree with the cause of why people demonstrated. I agree with the cause, but I don't agree with $1 to $2 billion in property damage, 19 lives lost, 14,000 arrests. Where's the condemnation from Liz Cheney? This is why most of the country doesn't take, like, that was also a big loss, big L. Like, the congressional committee, they went from, oh my God, Trump tried to overthrow the U.S. democracy and its government, to, oops, that didn't work. Gosh, all we have is that he threw his dinner at the wall. Okay, classified data on Mar-a-Lago. Mar-a-Lago, indict. That's what they have. That's all they have. Anyway, hit subscribe to this channel. It's always Crying Wolf. Liz Cheney represents a failed Republican brand party, a Republican Party that worships intel agencies just like Democrats do to do their bidding, and a Republican Party that talks tough on a bunch of issues but then doesn't actually address those issues. Trump has revitalized, transformed the Republican Party into a populist political party that Bernie Sanders would like, for the most part. Bernie Sanders became a different person. Bernie 2016 people would vote for Trump 10 out of 10 times. Bernie 2016, Bernie Sanders, that whole thing changed into something completely different. Okay, but he got cheated. DNC cheated him, Bernie Sanders, and you know the rest. Anyway, hit subscribe to this channel. I'll be back in a couple of hours, ladies and gentlemen. The 16th, Tuesday, will be the day that Liz Cheney loses, that Trump officially defeats the Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld Republican Party. Thank you so very, very much.